All good. All right, so we're back live from the press box. This is Bill McHarris. I'm with Coach Doug Cook. And not only do I have Doug helping me out on the press box because of his football expertise, being the past head football coach at my alma mater, Cocoa High School, back in the 80s. He was also a facilities assistant principal at Satellite. And as you can see, he's got us dialed in with a little bit better view. We took the smoky window out of it. So again, Coach, I hope you don't mind me reaching down in your bag of skills to, but I don't think they call them facility, they're like operations assistant. Operations.
Yeah. I wish I had that title like that.
Anything come with that other than a bigger business card? Or,
sounds a lot better.
So we got 28-0. We got Taylor Wildcats from Pearson, which is located just up the road in Volusia County. Coach Williams, we talked a little bit about him earlier. He actually played at Taylor, and when he graduated at that time, and I'm thinking it's probably changed because we've had some great players at Mainland and Seabreeze. He was one of only 3 running backs that had 4,000 yards rushing. Got a scholarship to UNC, one of the top colleges in the nation. Played football up there. I'm assuming maybe got his education there. Maybe he's like me. I got a 9-year degree. He's a teacher at Taylor. 2011 became the head coach at his alma mater. He's only got 17 players. So I'm thinking right now, physically, he's staying in the end zone, getting hydrated. What are you telling your players now, Coach, that in this situation?
In the locker room?
In the end zone, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I would have to be a little quieter than I would be in the locker room. But at this point, I mean, you're 2-0.
Right.
And you're playing like you're 0-2.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just, I would imagine they're getting their rear end chewed down. And hopefully they can come back and play a better second half. But they've got to make some adjustments too with their offensive set. They've got to spread Cocoa Beach out because they're putting 8 men in the box. You cannot run against them.
Right. And we don't know the situation. I mean, the 2 teams I think I mentioned earlier, because here at the press box we like to do our research. They beat Trinity Prep 44-6, who is ranked 576th in the state. And then they beat St. Francis Catholic 40-18. They're ranked 573rd, so they're like 3 spots apart. When you look at Cocoa Beach, the 2 games they lost, those 2 teams are ranked 310. One's Holy Trinity, which I think Coach Brown, he's got those guys dialed in. I think the Tigers are gonna make some noise in the playoffs. And then they lost to Foundation Academy. They're ranked 334th. My point is, they're ranked 200 spots higher. So whether we're seeing that difference tonight, maybe he had other players at those games, and I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know if he's got any injured players that aren't playing tonight. That's a possibility.
Right.
But I don't, like I said, you've got to spread Cocoa Beach out. You can't have them.
Right.
You can't run the ball. You're outnumbered on the line of scrimmage.
Right.
You cannot run the ball with 8 people in the box. You got to spread them out.
Yeah, it's and we talked about the passing. Again, I'm going to think that these stats are up to date because. And here's the thing. I'm looking at the running backs. They got 5 running backs. Well, they got 4 that have averaged over 11 yards a carry. They got 1 that's averaged 9.5. They've got 1 that has rushed for 189 yards, 1 for 143, 1 for 90. And again, I think those guys are here tonight. So, you know, we could chalk it up. Maybe the Cocoa Beach defense is a lot better than those 2 teams they played before.
It's certainly got a good defensive scheme. Defensive coordinator for Cocoa Beach has done his homework.
Right. He's
got a good defensive scheme because those kids are fired up.
Right.
And they're sprinting to the ball.
Oh, right.
They got game tackle. Right. And if my eyes were better, I could give you some numbers, but they've got game tackle on every play.
Right. Yeah, and I think, and again, 17 players. I think that number 81, if I had an extra game ball or an ice cream sandwich, I would give it to him. After the Beach scored that 3rd touchdown, he comes sprinting back to the 50-yard line, ready for the next play. And I want 17 of those kids.
Oh, absolutely. That's what coaches are looking for.
Right.
I mean, if you studied Deion Sanders and what he's done
Right.
at Colorado,
Right.
it's amazing his potential for developing kids, motivating kids
Right.
to love the game and
Right.
to play their hearts out.
Right.
And that's what you want. That's what you want.
And I know those are young men. I mean, they're 19, 20. Some of those, they might have taken advantage of the COVID year, their 6th or 7th year. They're still at an age where mentally, you got to have somebody at the front of the conference room that you're ready to knock the wall down for, and I think that's what he does. I mean, how many people have taken 86 new ball players and somehow in game one, and I know, and I'm a little tired of hearing about TCU, they're not what they were last. Well, they're ranked in the top 20. They were double digits, so let's not make excuses. They went a team with one win last year, went to the second place team in the national championship with 86, and somehow they came together and won. I don't care if they're playing one of these teams that are ranked 500th in the state in high school. That's an accomplishment.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they came to play.
Yeah.
Deion Sanders got along with a lot of great players on that team.
Right.
And great coaches that I've coached in the NFL.
Right.
So,
yeah, and that's, we kind of thought Billy Napier, because he's got 37 assistant coaches, if I count them right. NCAA, and I think Nick Saban kind of had something to do with this. You only allowed so many assistant coaches, but we've got different names for them, like directors or whatever. So,
football is pretty simple, Billy. Whoever blocks and tackles the best is going to win. Now, when Napier starts talking,
right.
I don't even have to take a sleeping pill. I go straight to sleep.
Well, it's
he bored me. You take him, you put him against Deion Sanders,
right?
And who would you rather play for? Deion Sanders would be my man. Billy Napier, I don't know. I hope he has a good season.
I do too. And we talked about that, not to get too far off the tangent of college, but you do deserve a couple of years, but you got to see something out of, and it's you talked about, running through a wall. It's like the old joke. What do you call it? A pig. What do you call a pig with glasses? A pig. He's still a pig. I don't care if he's got glasses on or not. And I think we need to see that. So then let me ask you this. And you and I talked when we got here a couple hours ago. And first of all, we got to give a shout out to Coach Waltrip, athletic director. Ted Tinney, you knew him and I knew him when he was the head coach at Sept. But we were talking. I mean, we got a head football coach, we got an athletic director and a head football coach. Well, we got a principal, Mr. Tim Powers, who did a great job as their head football coach. So, and like you and I were talking with Ted, it's not so much that they're just all three football coaches, past and present, but as an athletic director and as an administrator, Dr. Betty, who I think the world of, now retired from the Brevard Public Schools, she hired me as the county athletic director back in 2016. And she told me when she talks to any new, especially high school principal, because she was handling athletics, she tells them, listen, you either got to get ahead of it or you're going to get run over by it. And so when you see somebody like a Tim Powers, not just that he was a football coach, but you got somebody that understands, we've got, back when I was the athletic director for the county, I think out of 7,000 students, we had 7,500 athletes. 10% of your student body plays a sport. You got to understand how that works.
Exactly. The assistant principals, they have to know what these coaches are going through.
Right.
They're putting in hours and hours of extra work to building young men and young women in the athletic fields. And if you don't know what they're going through or how to handle certain situations, and there was a certain situation in this county that came up earlier a few weeks ago that you got to know how to handle it. And I think it's an advantage having a coach in administrative role.
and that's not to take anything away from anything else. Marching band, CTE program, any type of activity that you kind of hope every kid is involved in something outside of 7 class periods. But with the, I mean, looking here, we got a nice crowd out here at Cocoa Beach. I'd probably say there's 300 people on our side. With the excitement, the environment that athletics does bring. And again, we got the cheerleaders, we got the junior OETC, we got the marching band. You got to understand if 10% of your school is involved, and that's just sports. Forget about all the other. You got to know how that works. You got to know what those coaches are doing. I don't care if you're coaching golf, tennis, whatever. And
it's not a deal with, when kids are enjoying a high school experience.
Right.
It's an experience.
Right. Exactly.
I always tell kids, as an administrator, as a coach, get involved in something.
Right.
Right. Whatever. Get involved. Sports, whatever it is, do something extra. Clubs, organizations, get involved. It's so important to enjoy those high school years.
I was blessed that I had a Spanish teacher for 4 years at Local High. He was a tennis coach. I remember the cross-country coach Rod was come out for cross-country because I was like 5'1" and 110 pounds. I hated to run. And my Spanish teacher kept saying, come out for tennis, come out for tennis. And I didn't have the confidence. And when I was an administrator, I would talk to kids about, superstars aren't already at the high school. Superstars are in the middle school that we need to develop and get them up there. And luckily, he talked me into it. And finally, as a junior, I played tennis, played for a couple of years at BCC. I am forever thankful that he gave me that opportunity and convinced me that I know you barely know how to spell racket, but let's put one in your hand and see what can happen.
And look, years later, you're talking about it. That's where your coaches. Coaches are so valuable on campus to get kids involved. I recruited in local high school.
You're walking down the hallway, you see somebody that,
I would see a kid, I've got a lot of kids out of the hallway to play sports. That's very important.
Do you guys shout out to him? You know, that's the guy down there. Yep. Right, 4 windows down. Yeah, you're exactly right. And you know better than I, when you go to your reunions, who do you gravitate to? The guys you play ball with.
You're not talking about algebra class, geometry. You're talking about the sports.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You're not going, hey Doug, remember that science project? We knocked that out of the park as a 10th grader. Yeah, I don't think so either. So, all right, let me check my, we got 50%. I'm going to plug in this. We're just going to make sure we don't lose any power. I'm going to hit this mat. We got 50%. We should be good to go. 59. We haven't done a game in about a year, but I think we learned enough back in those days.
Yeah, we did.
About the power going out and all that stuff that we've done pretty good. So we got about a minute left. Let me ask you real quick before we start the second half. So Cocoa Beach is in the Sunshine State Athletic Conference. You were an administrator at Satellite. Cocoa Beach football, not in an upper tier, decided to go independent with Coach Kenny. And talk a little bit about what it doesn't matter, how big the box is what do you do when you're in the box, and that was the right move at the right time for Coach Kenny.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I was at Satellite High School as an administrator for 22 years, and I
believe it was 62. Okay, 22.
That's my IQ. But we probably had 4 winning seasons. We actually went to the superintendent and asked if we could,
back in the day,
get out of there because our kids were getting beat up. We had to play Cocoa, Titusville, Maryland, and we didn't have the kids. They weren't that physical to play in that particular league. So it was a great thing. Kimmy did a fantastic job, and we stayed out of the conference there for a while. We got back into the district, and he did a great job. Won 10 games.
And I'm going to tell you,
built the program.
That district, that 5A district, Rockledge, Palm Bay, Merritt Island, Satellite, all went to the playoffs. So Satellite didn't just walk back into a push; they walked back into the toughest 5A. And I remember my first year as a county athletic director, I went to that little playoff game that they had. Again, it was like Halifax Academy. They won like 54. Those stands were packed.
Oh, absolutely.
And hats off to Coach Waltrip here. He's in the SSAC. They won a playoff game last year, lost in the second year. And look, we got 300 people in the stands, and they're up 28-0. They're trying a short kick. Oh man, we got a horse collar on that. But you know, I get it. But you're down 28-0. I don't know. Do you play a little bit more conservative? But you know what? Listen, hats off to Coach Williams. Nobody's holding anything back.
No, he's not. I don't know if I would have done an onside kick. I think I would have.
But again,
he's gambling.
That's why I'm up here.
He's gambling.
And so we got Terry watching and Mary. We appreciate y'all watching. If you just joined us, we just started the second half, 11:52 in the third quarter. And Cocoa Beach lead 28-0 over the Wildcats of Taylor. And again, if you have just joined us, hats off to Coach Williams. They called him the A-Train. He ran for 4,000 yards at this very high school. He's now the head coach. They've only got 17 players, so hats off to them, playing their hearts out for sure. All right, Satellite, is that a incomplete pass? Okay, I didn't know if that was a backward pass or not. But again, hats off to the Wildcats of Taylor. They actually come into the game 2-0. Cocoa Beach lost their first two. We talked a little bit about halftime, where the teams that Cocoa Beach played were higher ranked, and I think that might be showing a little bit on the scoreboard in addition to only having 17. All right, Coach, what do we got? We got a 1st and 10. Quarterback under center, back in the shotgun. Got a guy in motion, a little sweep out there, going out to the outside. He found a little bit of a niche, cutting it back in. Shake a couple tackles off, shake 2 or 3. That young man's in shape. He picked up about 5, but he ran about 25 yards to get those 5, Coach. So
he sure did.
He kept those up. He kept those running.
I see Terry Humphrey is watching. A shout out to Terry Humphrey.
Is Terry watching? Good for
Terry and I coach together at Cocoa High School with Dad Coach Craig Butler, Coach Mulligan, Leroy Smith. Boy, Terry's coaching up in Georgia now.
I think so, and he was a commissioner for athletics here in the county as well. So you talk about an administrator that knew athletics.
Absolutely.
All right, so we got a second down, taking it to the outside. Again, remember, folks, Taylor Wildcats in the white jerseys, only 17 players, and they're still hustling out there. So hats off to those guys. Looks like it's a 4th down and about 3 yards. We're going to see what Coach Walton's going to dial up. Again, up by 28 with 10:38 left in the third quarter. I got to tell you, Coach, I don't see a lot of Wildcats with their hands on their hips. I mean, whatever Coach Williams did in the summer for conditioning, it seems to be working.
I think they're picking it up a little bit after the halftime speech.
All right, we got 4th down. Looked like they tried to draw them off. They didn't draw them off sides that time, so coached them up a little bit, that defensive line. Looks like they're watching the clock, but again, Co went into twice he pulled them off. It looked like it worked this time, so kudos to the defense. They didn't get pulled this time. And let's see if they're going to
It looked like they tried to pull them off sides there.
I think so, yeah. And again,
they
might have discussed that in the end zone during halftime, and Taylor wasn't full this time, so hats off to them. But we were talking about the Sunshine State Athletic Conference. I noticed when I looked at the standings, Sebastian River and Space Coast have actually joined the SSAC. So there's a couple other teams, one from Brevard County and Sebastian River just south of us, that have also gone into that SSAC. And what I like about that more than being independent, they can actually play for something.
Right, yeah, give them, I was reading a little bit about that today. Right. Give them something to play for.
Right. They can play for a trophy. If you go online and look at the SSAC, they've got middle school sports, all boys volleyball. We were playing, the beach volleyball was playing there until the FHSAA said, hey, we're losing too much money, and now they got it. All right, we got a field goal attempt. Did he sweep it through? Oh, it must have been wide light.
Wide right.
But again, you know, they realize where they're at in their program. You got crowds here. They won a playoff game last year. That brings excitement. And we talked about Coach Kimmy and Satellite, and they did it for a couple years. And when he came back, they were ready to play.
Oh, absolutely. They did, like we said before, Coach Kimmy did a tremendous job. He's a great motivator,
Right.
great mentor of young people.
Yeah. And again, I like being. I haven't seen him in a couple of years. He's greeted us when we got here. I like being around him. I mean, I'd say I'd suit it up, but I'd be lying to you if I told you that at my age. All right, so Taylor's got the ball, 1st and 10, back in their own territory. I tell you what, it'll be interesting to see the defensive stats on Cocoa Beach after this game.
Yeah, I don't think Taylor has a lot of yards rushing.
No, and like I said, the interesting part is when you look at their rushing from their first 2 games, they got, let me see, they got guys that can 70 yards, 94 yards, 45 yards. And again, I doubted that was all just the competition they played. I'd like to think they scored, I think, over 100 points in 2 games. You know, they got some talent. You talked about it. They got some speed out there.
I'm just waiting for one of them to break loose. They do have some speed.
2nd down, and I'm going to call it a short 10. He's quarterback keeper still has it. Oh, no, did that fumble? I think the trailer picked it up.
Well, the offensive line for Taylor just not doing a good job tonight.
Yeah.
Penetration was real quick on that play. The quarterback didn't have time to even run the play.
Right. And again, never coached tackle football. I'm almost thinking as quick as those Minutemen are on the defensive line, if you're going to fake that handoff, I think he needs to get rid of it. He takes those 2 steps, and they're there already. And luckily, the trailer was the one that got the fumble.
Right. They were lucky, very fortunate to get it back on that play.
All right, so we got 3rd and 9. Okay, we got some wide receivers out. Let's see. He only had thrown 6 passes before tonight's game. Okay, so no, he handed it off.
Well, you had a slot right there to the wide side, which spread the defense that way.
Yeah. You know, it's funny you say that. I remember back in the day, they used to have those bad men contests. You know, they fight over there at Eddie Grand Sports Center.
Right.
God bless Mr. Grant. He passed a few months ago. For those of us that followed wrestling back in the day, and they'd have these bad men contests. It was just crazy. But anyway, I told somebody, even if I didn't kick, I put shoes on just to make the other guy think I might kick him.
Right.
And that's like this. Set up a formation where it looks like you might do something different, even if you don't.
Well, the defense coordinator has to prepare for it.
Right.
Has to make an adjustment.
All right, young man, look at that. He got a nice run off this time after having 2 punts. All the way back to the 27 and Minuteman. All right, bring it back. Oh, yeah, I think that's did we not see that? That was Smith on the carry. So that young man who has had a couple of tough hunting situations, he just booted that ball about 45 yards. So
That was a great punt. Great punt.
I think
Good blocking by Taylor.
Might have earned him a snack on the bus ride home.
Cocoa Beach is doing a good job. They're hustling. They're blocking well.
Number 50.
Even if we don't talk about the score, they're playing a nice, clean game. I haven't seen a lot of penalties, no turnovers. They're playing the game plan that coaches put out there for them. All right, 1st and 10 at the 35. Cocoa Beach moving north to south. Pick up of a foul. I'll give a shout out. That was number 56. So we want to try to call as many numbers as we can when we see this. We got 3 people watching, so I just want to make sure my phone doesn't blow up because we got 3 people watching right now, so we got to be careful. I don't know what my data plan is, but
We get more on the replay.
We're having a good time. We're glad that we could bring this game to you live. All right, we got a pitch out to the left. Nice, another nice tackle by Taylor. Again, there might only be 17, but there's 17 young men out there.
That was Dozier on the tackle.
So it's going to be 3rd and 5. But maybe that punt energized them, Coach. I don't know.
Yeah, they've got to get something going here.
We'd like to see something positive for the Wildcats and Taylor. Quarterback leads them back up to the line. Number 13, Sylvia, looking for a pass. He had a couple guys open, actually. Nice pass play. That's falling to number 3. That's Chavez. He's a junior. And that picks up about 30 yards. That was a nice looking play right there, Coach.
Sure was. Well executed play, well developed.
And again, I got to give hats off to Coach Walter. He's been coaching for more years than I can spell football. He's calling the right plays at the right time.
Yeah, he's done a tremendous job tonight.
He's not just throwing a pass play. He's got it on 3rd down. He's got it on 4th down, and it's works. We got 1st down and 10 for the Minutemen at the Taylor 35. Little handoff. Breaks a couple of tackles. Might have picked up about 4 or 5. That's another thing I got to look at Max Preps usually Sunday. They got to be averaging 4 or 5 yards per offensive play. I mean, it's just, they are just moving that ball.
I would imagine Cocoa Beach has got close to 200 yards rushing already.
Yeah, easy. So again, a good pass play. We'll talk a little bit about why we're watching we got 2nd and 7. When you look at game film, do you request that from the other teams, or is it posted somewhere? How did you do it back in the day?
Well, back in the day, we had to.
Was it in a can, as they say?
Yeah, it was in a can. 16 millimeter, I believe it was. We had to exchange films. We usually did it on Saturday afternoon or Sunday.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Did you meet somewhere or something?
Yeah. We played St. Cloud one time. I drove my Corvette over St. Cloud to pick it up.
Was that the car with the tinted windows? Make sure nobody knew?
Yeah. So I drove over to St. Cloud, picked up a couple film, yeah.
Very cool. So that was a nice running play by Chavez for Cocoa Beach. That's another 1st down for the Beach at their own 12. Looking to pass and tucks it back in, cutting back. That's Co on the carry.
We also had leather hats back then. Which was, didn't have these safe helmets you got nowadays.
The shoulder pads, like those little foam inserts.
Right.
We were tough. Yeah. All right, so we got a water break, 4:07. Again, Cocoa Beach, if you just joined us, is up 28-0. And again, shout out, I've said this several times, to Coach Williams. Taylor's only got 17 players. I'm not really let down in the hustle on that Taylor side with just 17 players.
Yeah, I think, they've made some mistakes first half. Several penalties. And, 2 block punts.
Yeah.
But they're not, they still got some fight in them.
How about you? Tackle. You're missing the road.
I'll certainly try to mention this later, but while we have a break in the action, a water break with 4:07 left, if we have any Taylor fans watching, next game is next week, the 15th. It's a home game against First Academy. And if I look correctly on Max Preps, Cocoa Beach has a bye week. I think they've only got 8 scheduled regular season games, but again, they're going to be into the playoffs. In 2 weeks, they're back here at home against Halifax Academy. So Taylor at home next week for any Taylor fans that might be watching. And for Beach fans, you got Friday off next Friday, and you're right back here in 2 weeks against Halifax Academy. So we got 2nd down and about 8 from the 11-yard line for Cocoa Beach. Looking to punch this one in to go up by 35. They got a couple of receivers over on the right. Coach, you throwing or you running on the 2nd down here?
I would probably go to the wide side of the field, maybe an option play.
All right. Maybe a little misdirection. I see another slot receiver back to the right. It'd be interesting. There he goes right there. Let's see if he's not. No, we're just going to run around up the middle. And that's a great example of what you were talking about earlier. They spread the field, and he ran up the middle for about 8 yards.
Yeah, they opened it up there. Good blocking by the offensive line of the Minutemen.
So, for those that might not know, if you look at the far sideline, the yard markers are on the ground. Anytime you got first and goal to go inside the 10, there's really no need for those. So that's where the beach is. They got first and goal to go at the 3, looking to make it a 5-touchdown game. Hand up right up the middle for number 10, and he reaches it in. Garber, he's a junior. He came into the game with 93 yards. I'm sure by now he is triple digits, and at the 3:27 mark of the third quarter, the Beach up by 34. That was just a nice, again, we talked about this before, nice methodical drive by Cocoa Beach.
Nice drive by Cocoa Beach. I think at number 72 for Cocoa Beach, I'd give him some NIL money. Dude, he's played his heart out tonight.
Alright, let's see.
Looks like it's good. Extra point. Oh, we got a flag on the play.
So did that go through? No, yes. Waiting for the call. It looks like they're going to get a retry.
It was against Taylor, it looks like.
Yeah. Offsides.
Offside. Now that's
That's tough.
I think that's the 4th offside tonight.
That's, like I say, that's right up there with too much time after a timeout. You know?
Well, it's real simple. You just key the football, especially on a
it's a little tough.
extra point. Just key the football. It moves, you move.
Right, right. All right, so Beach got a second shot at it. I guess he's back about. Looks like it's going to be. What do we got here? About a 18 yard. No, that was blocked. And can you still run it back? I don't remember. No. But again, that's number 7 for Taylor.
Extra point is no good.
That's quarterback Miller. There's a quarterback Miller. Playing on defense. He's still out there to run. So with the missed extra point, 3:27 left in the third quarter. Hometown Minutemen on a beautiful night.
Great time for
They lead 34.
Satchel Gash.
So what do you like most so far about Cocoa Beach?
I think Cocoa Beach is well coached. I think they're well coached and they're playing with enthusiasm tonight. And I mean, they've got 4 or 5 guys on every tackle. So they're doing a great job. Defense coordinator has prepared well as the offense coordinator, and they're executing.
Right.
I don't know if they've had any penalties or not. I can't remember.
Maybe a 5-yarder back over here, I think.
Maybe one penalty the entire night.
And you got to remember, Cocoa Beach lost by 30 to Holy Trinity. They lost by 57. Foundation Academy. They've only scored 14 points. You can't tell that by looking at them, though.
No, absolutely not. I mean, they're playing a team that's undefeated,
right?
That has some talent.
Right.
They're not showing it tonight, but,
right.
But there's some speed on the other side.
We've been outscored. Get my math pad out here. 101 to 14. They don't act like it. And again, I watched Coach Waltrip on social media. He follows us on Pressbox. I saw an interview with him and some players on BSN. He looks like that type of guy. He ain't worried about being 0-2. He's not worried about being outscored by 90 points. He knows the talent he has.
Right.
And
he knows
I don't see an 0-2 team out there right now.
No, I don't either. I think these Beach kids are doing a great job tonight.
Yeah. So again, hats off to Coach Rogers and his staff. All right, I'm going to make that ball touch the ground. Come on, number 4. You got to go, got to go. No. Again, there's not been too many tackles where there hasn't been 3 or 4 Minutemen on each one of us.
Yeah, they're excited about playing tonight. They're
Right.
really doing a good job of
mentioned that earlier,
getting
so-
to the ball.
Right.
Getting to the ball.
And again, it's a beautiful evening. We talked a little bit about Coach Williams, a little bit about Coach Waltrip. He took over the Minutemen, and this is a quote that I like. He took over in 2021, and he said he wants to build around the kids that are here, which I like that. Look at what your players are. What plays can I run with these athletes? And I think he's doing a pretty good job tonight.
Yeah, you got to go with what you've been dealt. You know, there are some teams that don't do that, but back in my day, you had to play. Oh, here it is, right here.
Four, that's number 4. That's Thomas. He's just a sophomore. And again, that's a great example. We're almost through the third quarter. And look how good that young man is running. He's probably playing in 75% of the play. So, you know, Taylor, they're going to play to the last whistle. And I'm very impressed with that.
Yeah, one more step, he would have been gone.
Yeah,
He would have been in the
a
end
little
zone.
stutter step. But again, you know, Cocoa Beach, I think it's safe to say we kind of had the game in hand. And, you know, 17 players on the bus trip down. You like to see some positives that you can take back for your game next week. All right, we got the hand up. Oh, he kept it. Nice by Miller. Look, he's still on his feet. And he's got a first down. That's quarterback Miller. He's a junior. Trying to see, he's run for 71 yards. Well, we were talking about Coach Waltrip, and something else that I read online when he gave an interview when he got the job. He wants to instill values and teach life skills to student athletes. So, you know, that's the kind of coach you want your kids to play for.
Oh, that's the bottom line. And, you know, I know Terry Humphrey's watching. He knows as well as I do. To have a lifelong relationship with your players. I mean, I still have Ron Shaw, other guys that contact me that we have a relationship with. And, you know, I was coaching back in 1988, 89 at Cocoa High School with him. And it's just a good feeling to know that you, as a coach, have been a mentor for some kids and help change their lives for the better. That's what it's all about.
You know, and I'm sure that's very precious to you. You may not know that at that time. 30 years later, Ron, who we both know, he's a teacher, was an administrator, he's a great teacher at Rockledge High School. And man, when he talks to you, his face lights up. And at that time, you didn't know. 30 years from now, they still have that same. You know, I think you could talk Ron into suiting up again if you really had to.
Oh, I'd like to see him play again. He was a great player. You know, when we went in, first went into Cocoa High School, we said our part of our thing was if you can't do it in the classroom, you can't do it on the football field. Ron Shaw told me that he was a C student before our coaching staff got there.
How about that?
And then he became an A student.
Wow.
And but that was it. If you can't do it in the classroom, you might as well go do something else.
Well, I've had many coaches tell me, no matter what sport it is, first thing that college coach asks when he calls is, what's the kid's GPA? Because if it's not where it should be, he's wasting his time, or she.
Yeah, we had a boy by the name of Chris Hall. Played quarterback. He was a great D1 player. Danny Ford came down from Clemson that when he was coaching there. He came up, he drove up in a limousine, and he had a 3-piece suit on. Tie was loose, spit cup in his hand. He said, I want to see that boy Chris Hall. I'm here to offer him a scholarship. So he had already been to the administrative office, the dean's office, counselor office
to make
check
sure
on Chris Hall. So
he knew what he could do on the field.
Right.
All right, they're going for 4th down. Taylor's right at the 30-yard line, right up the middle. There goes quarterback Miller, a little stiff on. He's still up. Game tackle.
Great run there by Miller.
25 yards. Again, as a reminder, on 17 last night today for Taylor, quarterback Miller was on the defensive side of the point after, and he's still running full speed. Again, I've seen an interview, I didn't listen to the whole thing, from Coach Williams a few weeks ago, and I think he's just like what you're talking about right now, Coach. I think he's got these kids dialed in, and If it's just 17, they're going to play their hearts out.
Yeah, I think every coaching staff wants to instill the values that we spoke about in their players.
Pitch out to number 5, going around right in, cuts it back inside. He sees that end zone, and he's got a touchdown. Taylor from Pearson, Volusia County, on the board right at the end of the third quarter, actually, and they got 6 points on the board. So again, hats off to those 17 players that took the bus trip down here from Volusia County. They're still playing their hearts out, and again, that's a reflection of Coach Williams and what he's instilled in each young man.
That was a good run.
That was a good run. I like
the right
the way he went
side
outside,
there.
cut back,
Good blocking on the outside there too.
and that's something we talked about earlier, letting your blocking set up for you. All right, so they're going to go for 2. Why not? It's 34-6.
Why not?
Miller under center at the 2.5-yard line. Got a little pitch out. Is he going to turn the corner? Cuts back. Yes, he does. Oh, not well. Let's see.
Great defense by the Minutemen.
Yeah, nice stop out of the Minutemen. But again, Taylor gets on the board. As we get ready to start the fourth quarter. Nice, comfortable lead, 30-36 over the Wildcats at Cocoa Beach. You know, I was talking a little bit earlier about Coach Walter playing at Pensacola High School. Listen, back in the day, Pensacola was on the map.
Pensacola was great.
And he went on to play linebacker at FSU and Troy. And again, we talked about on the way up here when we were climbing those 472 stairs to come up here to the press box. He was actually the second head coach in the history of the era. So a lot of coaching experience. And again, what I see, you mentioned it too, Coach, they're just playing a nice, solid, smart game tonight, no matter what the score is.
Well, you know, they're a well-disciplined team.
Right.
You can see that. We talk again about Deion Sanders and his
Right.
Colorado team. When they took that field,
Right.
they had this confidence
Yeah.
and well coached. They went out and they did their business.
Yeah.
Similar to what Cocoa Beach does tonight. They got on that field and they demonstrated that they're the better team tonight.
Well, and you know, minimize the penalties. I know of at least one that I saw. No, he's a couple windows down, brother. He's a couple windows down. Yep.
I can't get to that. Can somebody pass this to him? I can't get to that middle spot.
Who is it going to?
Mr. Wells.
Welsh. Helping out the guys up there in the press box a little bit. All right, so Taylor going to kick it off at their own 40-yard line after scoring that touchdown. A little squibbler. Cocoa Beach. For Coach Welch, or some young man handed that off. Anyway, glad to see Taylor on the field. You know, again, they're in a 2S. I think they were ranked 93rd in the state at 2S. You know, that's where Cocoa High School is. Haven't really kept up with any scores, guys. Certainly want to see how the Tigers did down in St. Thomas.
Well, that bus ride back won't be as bad because they did score.
Absolutely. I mean, you want to leave with something positive. I think as positive as anything is that was the end of the third quarter, and they're still fighting hard enough against 50 guys to score a touchdown.
Oh gosh, I know you. There's 17 kids that are still fighting.
Yep.
You know.
Oh, nice little misdirection. Going back the opposite way. Number 4 going around the right side, turns the corner. Is he going to outrun? Oh, almost. That's a nice pickup of 20 yards. I believe that was number 3. He's a junior.
Down by number 6, Josiah Sept.
Again, I think I saw Cocoa Beach only had 8 regular season games because I think everybody gets into the playoffs. They have a nice little formula. So you got a nice win tonight. Again, not trying to call it early, but I think it's safe to say. Wait for this play to end. Nice little kick back. Uh-oh, he drops the ball. Is that defense? No. I think Cocoa Beach. So, Coach, you
Like
just
Cocoa
want
Beach got back to it, yeah.
Yeah, let's say you want to count out Taylor, but I think it's at this point, I think Cocoa Beach is going to get the dub. So you get the dub. It's your first win of the season. You're 1-2. I think we saw one kid maybe with some cramps. You got the week off next week. What is your focus now? Are you working on anything new? Are you giving them a couple days rest? What do you do when you have that week layoff?
Well, I'd give the kids a couple of days off.
Okay.
You know, just a little rest. I'll go play some golf or something myself. You know.
No, I didn't ask you what are you going to do. I said what are the coaches going to do.
But if I was coaching, I would give them a couple of days off.
Well, you know,
you put in little new
little
nuance,
wrinkles.
you know, a
Yeah,
couple wrinkles here,
right.
you know, a couple trick plays. I always like some trick series.
Yeah, there you go.
So
Trick the Rooski, no harm in that.
They just
All right,
relax
got a
a
little
little
pitch
bit.
out. Going back again the right side. Now, I'm going to tell you what, number 5 for Taylor. That's North. That is coaching job well done. He stayed in his position.
Sure did.
So he turned that corner. North was there. He didn't go anywhere because coach said, hey, this is you right here.
Exactly. You know, everybody has a gap responsibility.
Right.
Everybody has a responsibility out there. If someone breaks down, that's when you get yardage scored on, or you get a score on you. So people have to do their job.
Right. And that's got to be tough, especially a high school kid. He sees a play going the other way. He's standing out there by himself, but that's what he's supposed to do. All right, go a little pass play. Nope, over.
Well, you know, there's been many situations, not many, but some situations where, you know, kids they forget what to do.
Sure.
They forget what to. That's why you call them kids. So, I mean, it doesn't make the coach happy. Any coach obviously gets upset because they coach. But that's why they call them kids. They're going to make mistakes.
You know, and you know better than I. Coach Cook's got 5 phenomenal kids. I had the pleasure of helping coach one of his daughters in lacrosse. She also played soccer with my daughter. You still got a kid playing college ball, so you're you're still living the dream. But you know as well as I do, with all of your kids playing in college, some in the minor leagues in baseball, as Cocoa Beach puts
Safety.
When he throws the marker down, you know he must have touched it. I mean, he wouldn't have thrown the ball marker. That ball bounced over his head, so
Tough break there for Taylor.
tough break. Then 2-point safety. Of course, the worst thing is the team that got the 2 points gets the ball back.
Right.
Well, what I was talking about earlier was you had all kids played in college, played in minor league baseball, and you were a coach too. And as we're watching these teams play, as I'm pointing out some things that these kids from Taylor are still doing, even though there's only 7. Coaches look to see what kids do when they're not in the play. And we were talking about how that kid stays in the spot, but high school coaches, college coaches, they look at that stuff.
Yeah, when they're recruiting kids, they want to talk to the parents,
Right.
to find out what the parents are like.
Right.
The apple doesn't fall far from the tree sometimes. So
You
we
don't want
find
somebody
out.
coaching from the sidelines?
Yeah, exactly. And I have been blessed with 5 kids,
You sure
wonderful
have.
kids.
Yep.
They all played sports. They all got scholarships.
Yep.
So
And they excelled in the classroom too.
excelled in the classroom. I've got a daughter working on a doctorate degree.
Yeah, God bless
So
her. Yeah.
I
I had
have
a lot
been
to do with
blessed.
her assistant lacrosse coach.
I think so.
Spirit night at 4 Sports Field Station. Immediately following the game.
Yeah, you're right.
See you there.
It's great. We talk about this a lot. That when you see your kids do well, and again, but it's that parenting from you and your wife, as well as coaching. You know when your kid was on at 7 o'clock, they're doing conditioning, they're going to school, they got practice after, they're doing it. I mean, literally for 16 hours, you know what your kid's doing every day.
Exactly, and things are different now in society. Back in my day, I was more. My dad was military. I was raised in a military family. I was kind of like military, you know. I mean, you know, I wouldn't accept anything bad and bad behavior in the classroom. You know, I always said winning isn't everything; it's the only thing. You know, you got to.
I think an old Packer coach might have said that too.
Yeah, I kind of stole that from Vince Lombardi.
Okay. Well, that's a good guy to borrow that from.
But you got to have that desire to win. And I used to tell my players, I don't care what the school board says, as long as you get it, you leave your heart on the field.
Right. Got a little misdirection, a little bit run around up the middle. Look at that. Again, we always carry 3 guys for the first down.
Nice run right there.
Chavez, he's a junior. And you know, that was the when we started lacrosse here in the county, and we were blessed to have kids like your daughter, my daughter, that played other sports. They were great athletes. They picked up the game, and we told them, if we do what we're supposed to do in between the hash marks, that scoreboard takes care of itself.
Exactly, and you guys did a great job with that. I mean, I don't think you lost very many games.
Well, you know, the funny thing is, we got another play right up the middle. Coto Beach got another first down. That looks like that's number 20 on the carry, so they got some new guys carrying the ball. You know, we were blessed the first 3 years that we had varsity lacrosse. We won the 3 district championships. Ironically, we only lost 1 in-county game each year, and that was the team that came out to beat for the championship. So it's just, you know, next man up, next game up, and those girls, they made us look good, Coach.
Oh, absolutely. You guys some talent.
That's another one. Looks like he's gonna be about 6
Nice run up the middle there. I do remember you going down and playing Vero Beach, and I went over and asked the principal if we could check their birth certificates.
Let me tell you, they were like 9 times state champions. And I'm going to tell you, great coaching staff. They knew we were new. We went and watched that team play a team from Georgia. We took the girls down there, 5,000 people in the stands. But they were good. They showed us a lot. Yeah, we lost, but they were also nurturing the sport, and it was a pleasure to go down there and play.
Well, it's a great sport.
All right, so we got second down about 5. We got Cody going around, cuts it back, comes in. Taylor's out. They're playing hard.
Wow. Well, you know, lacrosse has grown quite a bit. I mean, it's an additional sport they brought in Brevard County a few years back, but it gives kids that normally wouldn't play any other sport, they can play that sport, so it gives them an opportunity.
We were blessed. We had players like your daughter that played 2 or 3 sports, and we had some kids that if it wasn't for lacrosse, they would never played a sport. They weren't going to play in college, but they got that degree, and they got that letter. Oh, nice.
Oh, nice hit.
Again, Taylor's still playing hard. But that, as a coach, it was great to see kids that I know that being an administrator who have never played a sport, and they got that experience. They got right on the bus to do league games. They got that varsity letter, and I see a lot of that out here. There might be some 7th and 8th graders out here because we are a junior, senior, that they're getting a 2-year head start on some of these other schools.
Oh yeah, that's definitely an advantage.
And again, hats off to Walter. He's called a really good, solid game. I can't wait to see the stats on, yards per play on the offense. Oh, nice. We got a little trickery going there. We got a new runner going. He's going to turn that corner. Oh, nice tackle by number 7. That was 45.
Minutemen are bringing out all the tricks tonight. Good reverse.
That was number 45, block on the carry. Nice tackle there by number 7. Not number 7. That might have been number 7. That was the quarterback on that tackle.
Who was it?
He's still out there playing both sides with 6 minutes to go. You and I talked about this before too. You're up by 30 points, 6 minutes to go. We're seeing a lot of new this is when you get those other guys in there. And because
Yeah.
you don't know when you're going to need them at some point in time when the game's
Oh
going.
yeah, it's so important to try to get your second, third teamers in. At least on special teams, or just
Right.
get them in there so mom and daddy can see them.
Right, yeah. And the new quarterback, number 11, in the pass. Nice breakup. And that's a freshman. Last name, I think it's Vigny, V-I-G-N-E. So again, there's a freshman quarterback. Nice little pass, nice coverage, little underthrow. But, again, that's a kid that's going to be with you 3 more years.
Good experience
But,
tonight.
yeah. Unless Coach Cook comes in with some ice cream sandwich NIL money, that might be a little bit. So I want to take a break. It's at 5:50. So some of y'all are new to the press box. Some of y'all have been following Doug and some of our shows. And just to reiterate, listen, we're 2 retired guys having a lot of fun. What do we got?
Mary Ryan says, thanks for the broadcast. We're enjoying every minute. You are welcome, Mary. Glad to do it out here.
We're enjoying it. I think we're up to 319 on the press box. Again, we love high school sports. We love college sports. We sprinkle other stuff in there. But, join the group. Press Box Overtime on Facebook. I got a Twitter page by the same name. Starting to dabble a little bit with Instagram. Haven't done a lot. Also have a YouTube page. So if you're watching the game and maybe you know some of the players, might not be tonight, but by tomorrow I will post this on my YouTube channel. You guessed it, Press Box Overtime. I'm guessing that wasn't a real popular choice before me, but so that you don't have to try to find the video on the Facebook page, I'll have it on YouTube in case any coaches or players would like to watch that over the weekend.
Bill, you've done a great job with the Press Box Overtime.
Well, again, it's like you and I have talked about. When you're passionate about something, we enjoy what we do. It's not that hard to be successful. And when Doug and I started doing a couple games about a year ago, we had 2 things in mind. We wanted to be entertaining and we wanted to be informative. We want to do justice to the people that watch. That we're easy to listen to, but we give out information that maybe you don't get somewhere else.
Yeah, absolutely, Bill. It's not easy to do all the research that you do.
I remember I told you I stepped up my game last year. Got a $79 monitor at Best Buy, so I got 2 monitors now, and it's still going strong. But we appreciate the people that watch, and hopefully they don't.
Well, we talked about it before, where Florida Today newspaper sports back in the day. We'd stay up all night to wait for the paper to come, and they covered all the athletics. And you don't get that anymore. So with shows like yours and a few others in the county, we're getting the sports information that we need.
Well, you were probably like me. I'm a couple years younger than you. Not too much. Not much. I think we circle the same box when we do surveys. We used to go home and you could call the paper.
Yeah.
And somebody would answer and they'd give you the scores.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Right. Hey, who won the Merritt Island game? Who won the Rockledge game? Yeah. So, back in the day, we got Miller back to pass. A little bit overthrown. Looks like he's a left-handed thrower.
Well, the electronic era has changed all that, with online, and unfortunately you don't get that newspaper the way it used to be. But
I will like to give a shout out to Max Preps. If you like sports, high school sports, like right now we have 16 teams that play 11-man varsity football in the county, and ironically, you can follow 16 favorites on a sport. So on Max Preps, I follow all the football teams, and with that, I can go and scroll down, see live scoring. I can see live results. I can see. So Max Preps does a great job, not just on stats, but keeping up with the games. All right, we got a little pitch out. We'll cut back in. That's number 1 with the ball. That's Gomez. But
they do a good job.
They do it. And so when I go home, I just pull up Max Preps on my phone. I go to scores, and all 16 of my teams line up. So, I was talking to last Friday. AD Brandon Sherrill called me off the bench, and I was a PA announcer for Bayside, and I was talking to the referee that was doing the clock. So to give you an idea of how things have changed, we'll wait for this play to be over. We got a third down and about 4. Miller's still at quarterback. Hands up. No, he kept it. Look at him. He's on the outside. He's breaking a couple of tackles. He's still running. That's about a 30-yard pickup. Again, that's a young man that's playing both ways.
Miller on their carry.
And
Miller's on fire.
got a flag on there. I see which way it goes.
Yeah, Miller's on fire now.
And
Second
again,
half,
that's a
he's done a
kid
good
that's
job.
probably played in 90% of the plays running for 30 yards, but we got to see where the flag was. But you know, we talk a lot about how much we appreciate. We've got one of the best officials organizations in the state, Mid-Coast. And one thing that not a lot of counties have, they do all of our sports.
Right.
And they did the only sport they hadn't previously done was boys lacrosse, which they picked up a couple years ago. And as a county athletic director in the past, it's nice when you only deal with one organization. And they've been around since Cape Coast Conference has been
Oh,
around.
absolutely. They've been around a long time. They do a great job.
They do.
And these are men that, they love the sport.
Right.
You know, I've seen some of the guys. Gosh, I started coaching back in 1976 at Merritt Island High School.
I was going to
Gerald Odom. With Gerald Odom. And some of the guys,
Yeah.
Torchy's been around. I don't know if he's still around now, but 2 years ago I knew he was. He was doing football. And,
Right.
so, they're out there giving their time. So it's great to have some great officials.
We were talking last week about this weekend. We got 16 teams in the county, including MCC and Holy Trinity. There's 13 ball games tonight, and 10 are in the county because we're playing so many out of county. And that's what stretches them kind of thin. 16 teams, but 10 games to cover. So we appreciate everything they do.
Oh, absolutely.
All right,
Great
first
guys.
and 10. They're at the 50-yard line. We got 3:38 left in the game. A little pitch out. Is he going to turn the corner? Not tonight. That is number 2 on the stop. Pena, he's a senior. We talked about that. We've seen a lot of nice open field tackling by both teams, actually, but especially the other one.
Well, there again, Taylor has been one-dimensional.
Yeah.
With their set.
Right.
Run, trips, double slot.
Right.
Spread that defense out. Give me some creases there where I can run my back. You can still run the ball up the middle. Just spread them out a little bit. You've got kids, 10 yards off the line of scrimmage.
So as a defensive coordinator, you're kind of happy to see that. It kind of minimizes what you've got to call. Miller keeps the ball, pitches it back out to number 4. Again, that was a great play, but I think that kind of shows all night. It takes a little time to develop. You got a Miniman everywhere in the backfield.
Right. Well, you come up with it as a defensive coordinator. You come up with your scheme, and hopefully it'll work. I remember back when I was at Rockledge High School coaching with Bill McKnight.
Right.
I was a defensive coordinator. We played Titusville. They had a young man by the name of Gerald White who ended up going to Michigan. So I was defensive coordinator, and he had 260 yards rushing that night. And I put 14 men in the box. I took the managers out there. I still couldn't stop.
Right. I want to come back and ask you questions. So we got third down. We got about 3rd and 14. The ball sits at the Taylor 44. Miller under center. Miller keeps the ball. Is he looking to pass again? Left-handed passer. Yes, he does. He's going for a first down. That's a pickup of about 27 yards. And man, I wish I had that kid's name. That's number 8 again. I'm sure
that was a great run.
I'm not a coach. That kid can throw the ball pretty good.
He sure can.
For a guy that only had 6 attempts.
Well, like we said, you got to spread them out. It's kids. You got 8 men in the box.
Right.
You got to spread them out.
So let me go back to Gerald White. When you got a player like that,
Man.
is that one? It's kind of like basketball. Do you just figure I'm going to let him get his 200 yards and stop everybody else, or do you really try to stop that one guy?
Well, we try to stop him, but
How'd that work out?
Our boys are bouncing off of him, and they couldn't wait. They couldn't get out of his way fast.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Second half,
What does the bullfighter have? He has like a red cloth or something, kind of waves to make sure the bull knows which way to go.
I mean, we've had some great athletes.
Oh, my
Wilbur
God.
Marshall,
Oh, my
Chris
God.
Collinsworth.
Yes, we have.
That's back when astronauts used to dominate
Let's
back
go
in the
back in
day.
the 70s and look at a couple guys that
man.
played at Merritt Island that went to play at FSU, right?
Right.
Man, oh man. Neon Bright played for the Giants.
Yeah.
Miller pulls it out, takes the ball himself, calls his own number. He gets pushed to that first down. You know, we got a minute left. Let me tell you, Taylor hasn't quit. They're trying to put 7 back up on the board. Again, I got to give Williams a lot of credit, Coach Williams. I don't see those hands on the hip. Whatever they talked about at halftime's working.
Yeah, I think he motivated them at halftime a little bit because they're playing a different team this second half for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, they look just as fresh as a Minutemen. All right, they'll maybe need to call another number.
You know, outside of that onside kick, you know, starting off the second half,
Right.
which should have kicked it deep.
Right.
It kind of hurt him right there.
So they call a timeout with 39 seconds to go. So what do we got? We still got we got 3 people watching, so I'm not sure if we got anybody watching from Taylor, but I mentioned this earlier. If you're watching from Taylor, or you happen to watch this on YouTube when I post it tomorrow, their next game is next week at home against First Academy. And as Coach Cook and I talked about earlier, the Minutemen, which are getting ready 39 seconds away from their first win of the season, they got a week off. And then in 2 weeks, they're right back here on September 22nd against Halifax Academy. So, Doug, whether Taylor scores or not with the 39 seconds, what are you going to use on the bus ride home as some positive feedback to the 17?
I think I'd tell him I'm impressed with your desire.
Right.
You didn't quit.
No,
You didn't
at all.
quit.
No.
You got to have something positive,
Right.
although you're angry as a coach because
Yeah,
you lost.
sure.
No one likes to lose.
Right.
But you've got to look for something positive and build
Right.
in that direction.
Yep. I agree. And you know, if you look at the sideline, all those young men on the sideline, all 7 of them, they're right there by the coaches. They're not on the bench. They're not at the water. They're out there listening. All right, look at there. He's wide up. Oh, he's too far. That was intended for the wide going. But again, sometimes you watch a team, and you got a couple guys by the water goofing off, and all 6 of those on the sideline, they're right there with the coaches. They're watching the plays, and I think just that alone is a reflection of Coach Williams and the job he's doing here at his alma mater.
Yeah, it's certainly a different team this second half.
They are.
They made some
Yeah,
adjustments.
No, I agree.
They made some adjustments
Yeah.
at halftime, and I'm sure there was a motivational speech at halftime.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think here, 28. Yeah, they've held Cocoa Beach to 8 points the second half. Now, I will say hats off to Coach Walker. We got a lot of backups playing in the 4th quarter, but I think part of that too is we got a pass to the end zone. Oh, nice pass, break up. That would have been a touchdown.
Yeah, one of the hardest things to do as a coach is not play a player.
I know.
Because,
That's hard.
you know, it really,
They're working their butts off.
and the
all
older
week.
I get, the more I realize it.
Yeah.
But
Right.
mom and daddy's in the stands,
I know.
grandma,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and if they don't play, it's just, but on the other side, you got to win. If you don't win,
Well-
you lose your job.
Yeah, you know, and I'm like you, I'm old school. I think that school was still open when I came through it. You know, and there is part of us as, and you've got more coaching experience than I do, but you kind of wanted your kids to get to that high school level where then everybody doesn't get a trophy. So they
Right.
then they've got to change that mindset, which all 5 years did because he went on to play in college. And, you know, yeah, you want to give everybody a fair shot because everybody's been working their butts off all week long. But, you know, you want to instill in them that you got to earn that spot.
Yeah, you know, we told our players, your position, you don't have a permanent position. Because on Wednesday, we had tryouts
Sure.
for every position.
Right.
Anybody wanted to step up.
Right.
You know, if you want to be a quarterback, come on up.
Right.
We're going to look at you.
Right.
So nobody had a permanent position.
Well, we know coaches don't, so
That's for sure.
players got to be. You know, I'm only going to give you what I get. All right, so we got. Looks like a 4th down over there. Looks like he's going back to pass. Throwing it in the end zone. Falls incomplete.
I remember the great Dick Blake, principal at Cocoa, when he hired
God
me.
bless him. Yeah.
Dick Blake coached me in high school.
Yeah.
And he said, Doug, I love you like a son, But if you lose, Big Blake's gonna fire you.
Just like I might do myself, right? No,
Big Blake's gonna fire you. So
you know, that was one thing that when I was an assistant coach at lacrosse, and again, we were blessed the first 3 years of having some great teams. You know, I took upon, I told the head coach, you've got enough to worry about. I kept track of who played and who didn't play.
Right.
And we were fortunate enough that for most games, you know, it was over after halftime, and we could give those kids, because you're right, you know, and I'm looking over at the Taylor side, now there might be 20, 30, but you know what? Those are parents. They came to see their kids play, and if there's an opportunity, we've seen Coach Walker doing it, a lot of new faces in the fourth quarter. Yeah, you know what? Because those are the kids that you're going to count on in years to come.
Oh, absolutely. And my daughter plays volleyball on the West Coast,
Right.
and her roommate, they played a team that they could beat, you know, but her mother and dad and brother drove from Jacksonville all the way to Bradenton, and she didn't play 1 second. And I mean,
Let's hear it for your Cooker Beach.
All right, so real quick, that's the ball game, and for the first game of the season, here at home, in front of a crowd that's probably about 300 strong.
oh, it's a good
Cocoa
crowd.
Beach Minutemen, led by Coach Ben Waltrip, walk away with their first victory as they lead Cocoa Beach Stadium victors 36-6 over the visiting Wildcats of Taylor High School out of Pearson, located in Volusia County. And again, hats off to Coach Williams. I see him leading. He's a past player for Taylor. As I mentioned, he rushed for 4,000 yards, scholarship to UNC. Head coach back in 2011, taking over his alma mater, 17 kids. And Doug, like you said, there was no drop off in the second half of those kids.
Not at all. They came to play.
Yeah.
But you know, shout out also to the cheerleaders and the band.
Yep, absolutely.
Administration was very nice to us.
Yep.
Very welcoming. So
Right.
it's a great night. Cocoa Beach is just a great little community.
Sure is.
The parents come out, they support their players and the school. This is a great environment.
Right. We want to give a shout out to, and if you're here in Brevard, you know this, you know, their principal up to a few months ago, Dr. Mark Rindell, is now the new superintendent of Brevard Public Schools, and their athletic director, Kevin Robinson, is now in a position that I'm familiar with. He's now the county athletic director. So you got a new AD in Ted Kinney. We talked about him earlier. New principal in Mr. Powers, who is a past head football coach at Oak Alley.
Right, did a great
And,
job. Of
again, just hats off, and we wish them the best of luck. And again, being our first regular season game, we certainly do appreciate it. Let's turn that camera around. We want to make sure everybody
Yeah, see,
sees
Coach Harry Johnson
Is Harry Johnson on
watching.
there?
Yeah, Harry Johnson was a baseball coach here. Did an excellent job at Cocoa Beach back in the day.
Yep.
Harry Johnson was a scratch golfer and
Yep.
just a
Yep.
just a great guy, great coach, great teacher. Spent many years in the Brevard public school system, and glad he's watching tonight.
We're going to turn this around. We kind of want to make sure that in this age of IA, that yes, Coach Cook and Bill Maharis, we are still here, but we appreciate you watching tonight. Again, we enjoy doing this. Like Doug just said, we appreciate Coach Waltrip and Mr. Kimmy and Principal Powers for giving us an opportunity to do our first regular season football game. We did a couple spring games, and you know, it was a good game to watch. Again, Cocoa Beach, 30-point victors. So real quick, Doug, you talked about this earlier. You got a week off. Great victory in front of a great hometown. What are we doing the next 2 weeks, because we got an off weeks before we play Halifax?
Well, first of all, you give the kids a little bit of rest.
Sure.
And if you got any injured players, you got to deal with that.
Right.
Make sure, give the kids a couple of days off.
Right.
Let them go surfing.
Right.
Spend some time with their families. That kind of thing. Put in some new wrinkles also. If you got little
Right.
trick plays or whatever. You've got a lot of time to prepare for your next opponent.
Right.
So I think that's so important.
Right. No, I agree. So, again, we got 9:15. That was a fast. That's what happens when you run the ball.
Sure.
Feel free to join Press Box Overtime on Facebook. We're on Twitter, Instagram, just starting. I'll post the videos tomorrow on YouTube. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your comments. For Doug Cook, I'm Bill Maharis. We're Press Box Overtime. Again, Cocoa Beach victorious 36-6 over Taylor. Have a great weekend, safe time home, and we might do this again one day.
We might do it. Let's do
Thanks
it.
for watching.